just want to go back to yesterday's daf and mention one ha'ara nefla'a that I heard from Yedidi Rabbi Yitzchak Chanan Lipshitz. And that is, so the topic of yesterday's daf, it's not going to be hard, was the halacha of the nesachim. Kol korbanis hatzibur v'hayachid tu'uno nesachim, chutz min abchor v'hamaiser v'hapesach v'hachatos v'ha'asham. The exception of the chatos and the asham of the Mitzayra, even though the chatos v'asham, they do require nesachim. Then the Gemara brought a long brisa, and then we did a deep dive, a whole daf of Gemara, darshaning this brisa, 20 or so drushes. There was so much going on. One of the things that the Gemara was marba in the brisa was the oilas riya and the shalmei chagiga. It says in the parsha of the nesachim, oy b'mayadechem, v'asisem isha l'Hashem oylo izevach l'falei neder oy b'nedava oy b'mayadechem. And from the words oy b'mayadechem, Chazal said it's l'rabbis the oilas riya and the shalmei chagiga. Why do I need a riboy? I would have thought it's not being brought b'neder b'nedava. So even though it's a korban that's bechevtza brought b'neder b'nedava, but right now it's not. Kamash malam b'mayadechem, it's a korban that's brought on a mayed. And being that it's a korban that's brought on a mayed, so it's for that reason it's included in the halach of the nesach. The Shita Mekubetzes on the side of the Gemara asks a bombekasha. Pesach is one of the korbanos that are nisma'it in the Mishnah from Nesachim. Why don't we say that the Korban Pesach is included in Oy b'mayadechem? I have every reason in the world not to include it because it's not brought b'neder b'nedaf. But just like the Oilas Riya and the Shalmei Chagiga were included from Oy b'mayadechem, so Freik the Shita B'Kubet says, why are we also not marba the Korban Pesach from Oy b'mayadechem? Just to explain the kasha a little bit better, the Korban Pesach, even though it was brought on Erev Pesach, but l'chura it still would be considered a Korban of a Mayid. First of all, it's eaten on Pesach, but even more than that, to Yodua, the Ramah says that person that becomes an ovel on Yontif, so he doesn't start keeping avelos until after Yontif. If somebody was sitting Shiva or Shloshim before Yontif, when Yontif comes, it's Soiser the avelos. Says the Ramah, there's a Yeshayimrim, that the avelos of Yontif starts, as it relates to Pesach, Erev Pesach Nochatzois. The Vilna Gaon in Bir Agra says, what's the Makar? He says, because the Pasuk says in Parshas Emor, we said it many times over Yontif, I hope. Eile Moyadei Hashem. Nikroi Kodesh Asher Tikrois Mayad Vayadaber Moshes Mayad Hashem Bnei Yisrael Savri. Right? We say it in Kiddush Elam Mayad Hashem, and in the parish of Elam Mayad Hashem, we mention Barba Asar. Beinu Arba'im is supposed to bring the Korban Pesach. So says the Goyen that you see Mefurish in the parish of the Mayadim. The Torah doesn't start from Pesach. Torah starts from Erev Pesach. Erev Pesach Nochatzois. This man that the Korban Pesach was brought is already considered a Moed. So Freik the Shita Mekubet says, why don't we say from Oy b'mayadechem to be married by the Korban Pesach? So Rabbi Yitzchak Chanan Lipshitz said half of a fella. He said, you know why? You know why? Because it's Yodua that when there was the big tumult with Reb Tzvi Hersh Kalisher about bringing Karbanis Bizman Hazeh, so the Netziv wrote in one of his svarim, that why is it that every single time the tumult came about, it was always about the Korban Pesach. It was never about one of the other Karbanas. He said, because there's a pasuk in the Teichacha that says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, V'ashim moisi es mikdeshechem, v'lo yoriach, I'm not going to smell anymore the reach nichaychechem. The Eibush already said there's going to be no reach nichayach. So he said, be'etzim, the whole idea of bringing a Korban Bizman Hazeh should be dead on arrival. Because a Korban is supposed to be a reach nichayach, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu already said that I'm not going to smell the reach nichayach. But the Netziv said, if you look in the Torah, there's only one korban where it doesn't say reach nichayach, and that's the Korban Pesach. So being that by the Korban Pesach there's no reach nichayach anyways, that's why that was the only korban, even in the times of the Rishonim, that they tumbled about maybe bringing afapi shein bias, because that's the only one that you could bring noch the korban where you don't have the klala, the teichacha of a layariach, it's reach nichayach. And we spoke out maybe the lam this is because the Korban Pesach was all to be marchik klais from avodah zarah, mishchu yetchem avodah zarah, kchulchem tzayim shel mitzvah, based on the Meshachachman, the Akdamah Sefer Vayikra ve'ein kana makom laharach. But said Rabbi Yitzchak Chanan, if you take a look in the pasuk, V'asisem isha l'Hashem, Oyla, Oy zevach, lefalei neder, Oy b'nedava, Oy b'mayadechem, Lasois reach nichayach l'Hashem, and Avakram and Atzah. Pasuk says mefurish that the mitzvah of nesachim is for a korban that's lasis reach nichayach l'Hashem. The one korban where there was no reach nichayach was the Korban Pesach. From oy b'mayadechem be'etzem you'd be able to be married with the Korban Pesach. But oy b'mayadechem lasis reach nichayach l'Hashem. can't be. Stav Zayin HaKorban versus Oila L'Reach Nichayach. Korban Pesach was only to be Merachik Klal Yisrael Me'avodah Zarah. It wasn't a korban where HaKadosh Baruch Hu had this tayelis from. As a result, the Korban Pesach, which was not a Reach Nichayach, by definition cannot be included in this pasuk. It's true, it's included in B'mayadechem, but it's not included in Rat Lasei's Reach Nichayach L'Hashem, the Divrei Pi Chacham Chen.